Good morning and welcome back to the Word Celtic Fans View this morning. Where's the mouse? There we go. Just need to get this in place. Big shout out to my brother this morning and everyone from the Blingery CSC. It took them an epic, it was around about 10 hours or so to get to Bologna. Absolutely epic. One of their flights got cancelled. That's what it's all about, being a Celtic fan. They're the true Celtic fans. You know, never mind people that sit at home and just chat online. People that spend their hard-earned money. So fair play to my brother and everyone who went over from the Blingery CSC. Have a fantastic day. And I'm going to just leave this on the channel for the day, actually, because they're sitting having breakfast and a pint already. That's what it's all about. It's all about having breakfast and a pint on your away day travels. Hopefully they get a bit of a result tonight. What would a good result to be tonight? And we have an old Umbro top. What year was this top? It's a cracking top. Forget how good some of these tops are. Yeah, you forget how good you have them. You have them in the cupboard. And no, I don't mean like you, Pat. I don't mean like you. I mean the ones that sit on social media, like Facebook and stuff, and Twitter and stuff, and just the negativity that comes from them is unreal. But anyway, good morning. Welcome back to the channel. Celtic are on the verge of getting one striker in the door. It's been said that Celtic and Martin O'Neill want another striker in as soon as possible, because let's face it, we need a little bit of help to get us over the line and stuff. And just in other news, before we talk about the striker, Arne Engels has been talking to the media yesterday over in Italy. Arne Engels says that he's more than happy at Celtic. He doesn't want to go anywhere. Anthony Joseph of Sky Sports News said that the Celtic midfielder Engels is likely to stay at Celtic despite interest from Germany. RB Leipzig inquired, but it's understood that Engels is happy to stay. Let's just move the table up a bit this morning. Arne Engels is happy to stay at Celtic and he wants to remain at the club to help Celtic retain the title. He wants to help Celtic retain the title. And he's really enjoying working under Martin O'Neill, Sean Maloney and Fozzie, etc. But Mark Viduka wore this top. But anyway, Engels is going nowhere, according to Sky Sports. I think that we all knew that. I mean, I don't think that it's time. And he's been at Germany already. Some players, I mean, would you go back to the league that you've been at? Unless it's Celtic. But anyway, we move on. In other news, the game tonight will be on TNT Sports 2 for those who are looking to watch the game on television tonight. There will be a watch along, and remember that I will be doing a video an hour and a half before as the team is announced. Now, David Fofana, he said, I want a project where I trust playing time and ambition align. That's where a player can truly express himself. And is that a come and get me to Celtic? Obviously, he's been recalled from his loan spell back to Chelsea. Chelsea want rid of him this year. Celtic are still in the market for a striker. Fofana is a player that Celtic are definitely interested in. A lot of people are saying that we can't afford them, but you know, I think that there is money there, and it'll be interesting when he said, speaking to the media also, I want a project where trust, playing time and ambition. That's where a player can truly express himself and grow. That's a come and get me to Celtic, isn't it? Because Celtic will give him the platform to play. Celtic will give him the platform to grow. And then looking forward, long term, not just to the end of the season, when you look at the European context, it will also give him somewhere to grow and shine. So that if he does want to move to a bigger club, as they all do, all football players, you know, they're not wanting to come to Celtic and sit around at Celtic for 7-8 years. We all know that Celtic is a stepping stone, and I think that Fofana, even if you get him in for 2 years, don't know, get him in, get the big striker that's coming in, although he's not a target man. Is Fofana a target type man? Do you really get target men in this day and age? I mean, I know that you need it in Scottish football, but I mean, it's all about pace and speed in the modern game, isn't it? So I think that whilst Martin O'Neill is getting quizzed about having a target man like his time at Celtic, was over 20 odd years ago. After this top was out, yeah, put it that way. But we'll wait and see. It is a case of wait and see. There is no impending players about to come in to the club, and other than the striker that has sat his medical yesterday, I think it will be announced today that we have finally signed him. There has been other players talking about certain managers at Celtic, and that one player is Sebastian Tinecti. Tinecti's spoke about his struggle under Wilfred Nancy before heading to the African Nations Cup, and he says that under Brendan Rodgers, Brendan Rodgers spoke a load of shit about him as well. Basically, tonight he said, as a player, I see myself more as a winger than a wing back. Than what? Do we need to remind ourselves about the absolute shit show manager that we got in? Can we just not move on? Let me see what some of the comments are saying. Gutted Ralston's passport issues are fixed. Yeah, he was asked about that, Martin. I was. I think I've got that strip, and I think my granddaughter wants it. There you go. I've got all my strips, and going back a long way. Don't even want to think about what I'm going to do with them in later years. See which one's the more faithful Celtic supporter at them all. But anyway, we're sitting fighting on the telly now. But anyway, we move on. It is all about the game today, and I'm not even going to go down the road of the Tinecti story, because he's just having a moan about the previous two managers, Brendan Rodgers and Wilfred Nancy. It is about looking forward at Celtic. Cheers, cheers for the shout out and putting the flag up. No worries, mate. It's and Chris, where's Chris? If you're still watching, or your dad's cousin watches the channel as well. Just saying. But anyway, we move on to that. I still have the Black Magic strip. I think I should have that one in there. I need to check. Right, it is all about the game today. Let me just find out the squad. Let me just see, UEFA.com for the squad this season, because there is obviously a number of players who aren't in the squad. And when you see, obviously the squad includes the B team players, because they play in Europe as well. So let's jump onto this screen. The power of Grayskull. Kasper Schmeichel, Sinisalo and Ross Dohan will all be on the bench for Celtic tonight. Obviously, there is all these other younger goalkeepers. I didn't know we had so many young. I mean, look at the ages of them. 19, 18, 17, 17, 18. I think they're just. I didn't know that we had so many young goalkeepers at Celtic, to be honest. But anyway, Alistair Johnson out injured. Liam Scales, he will play tonight. Austin Trusty, he will play tonight. Sriracha, he's out injured. Oh, there was a bit of an update actually on when Sriracha will be back. Where is that? Sriracha, we'll talk about any actual won't make the game tonight, so we're left with Dies Maida through the middle by the looks of it. Players that should be available for the Hearts game: Iniacho, Sriracha, and the new striker. So they'll all be in for the Hearts game this weekend. So Sriracha cannot play tonight either. Other injuries: Cameron Carter-Vickers, an update on injuries. Cameron Carter-Vickers is out for the season. We know that. Jota's out for the season. We know that. Osman's out for the season. We know that. And Johnson is back in March. But it also said that Callum Osmond could be back in a couple of weeks. I thought Callum Osmond was out for the season when he got his injury. If he's back in a couple of weeks, don't bring him back too early. I wouldn't bring back Callum Osmond too early, because you don't want to damage the young boy, like what we did with Iniacho. We brought him back too early. Anyway, getting back to the squad, I reckon Hatate will start tonight. Dane Murray will be on the bench. Colby Donovan, I think he'll start tonight ahead of Tony Ralston. I do think that Donovan will start ahead of Ralston. I hope he does anyway. It's nothing against Ralston. Can you show this striker's stats? Do you think he'll play against Hearts? Yeah, it doesn't matter his stats, because he's not been getting a game. I'm going to say this one thing about the striker that's coming in, and people going on about game time, people going on about lack of football. If you remember back a long, long time ago, Chris Sutton. Chris Sutton was at Chelsea, and he was woeful, terrible. Chris Sutton will admit that himself. Absolutely shite at Chelsea. Didn't get any game time. Missed out most of their season. Was fantastic when he was at Blackburn, with Alan Shearer, the SOS, and he was fantastic there. But he was woeful at Chelsea. And nobody thinks back to how bad Chris Sutton was at Chelsea. And then he came to Celtic. If there was social media at that point, people would be saying, why were we buying a Chelsea reject? But Chris Sutton came in, knuckled down, and got on with the job. Chris Sutton's his playing time at Chelsea was woeful. Absolutely woeful. But he came in and done a fantastic job. Now, I'm not going to say that the striker, Thomas, that's coming in, I'm not going to say that he is going to do a Chris Sutton, because he's not a Chris Sutton type player. He's not a big target man, as Martin O'Neill said. But, yep, Simon Donnelly was SAS. Don't talk about the SAS. SOS. I didn't want to say that, because for obvious reasons. But anyway, when you look at the way that Sutton was terrible at Chelsea, this guy, if he's not been getting a lot of game time, if he comes in and does an Adam Ida, if he comes in and scores 9 goals between now and the end of the season, that'll be a fantastic return. Adam Ida did it. He come in and he got 9 goals when he came in on loan, and everybody thought he was the bee's knees. So I don't think we should be putting pressure on and looking at the stats, and because the stats of the, I mean, I'll get the stats up, but where is it? There is there. There's the stats for the new guy. Do you know what I mean? You could look at the stats and you're going to go, he's not been a prolific goal scorer, has he? I mean, there was one season that he scored 6 goals for Borussia Mönchengladbach. He scored 8 goals that season in total. Don't know, and you're like, scored for the Czech Republic under 21, scored for the Czech Republic first team. You know, he has made that step up, so he is an international player. I think that we just bring him in, and what you need to understand at Celtic is that ready-made players are not going. They don't want to come to Celtic. And whether you think that, and it's not a case of the board going down the cheap road. It's not a case of the board penny pinching. It's not a case of the board, going backwards and bargain basement. It's reality of where we are as a club. We need to go and find players that are maybe not loved by their club, being given a chance. Do you know? Iniacho was worth 20 million at one point. We're not going to get players that are ready made, that are scoring 20 goals a season, because they are not coming to clubs like Celtic. It's as simple as that. Checks are all crazy. He'll be right up for it. Exactly. And that's what we need at Celtic. I'm glad that we're going down that road and bringing this, because if he's as enthusiastic as the fans from that part of the world, you're going to have some player, you know, and you're going to have someone that's not scared to go in for a little bit of a hard tackle, put it that way. But anyway, I think that we can. Is there any way you can compare Sutton's stats with Thomas? No, because he's not a current player. I'd have to try and go into transfer market. I can only pull data from players that are playing in the current leagues. I mean, we can get one from any league in the world, but no, not in this system, unfortunately. I mean, I suppose if I had time, you could go back on I don't know if Transfer Market would do it and be able to show you the stats of Chris Sutton at his time at Chelsea, but I don't think that the data would be there. But Chris Sutton admits it himself. In fact, I'm sure I've got it on. Oh, maybe not. Maybe not. But anyway, we digress. It was a long time ago, and it's different players. But players are not the problem going to Saudi Arabia when they won't come to Celtic. Players have no problem going to Saudi Arabia, but they won't come to Celtic. Bullshit. What? What are you talking about? Saudi Arabia are throwing money at players. What? Of course, players are going to go to. I don't know what you're talking about there, but players have no problems going to Saudi Arabia, but they won't come to Celtic. Bullshit. Of course they'll go to Saudi before Celtic. Are you mad? Look at the money that they're throwing. It's absolutely bonkers, mate. Anyway, we move on, because it is all about the players tonight that are in the squad. And the players, oh, that's the wrong one. The players that are in the Europa squad here. And players that I think that will start tonight. Let's look at the back four first of all. I think Liam Scales will start. Austin Trusty will start. Dane Murray will not start. He'll be on the bench. Colby Donovan will start. And then Tierney will start also. That'll be your back four. I'm just looking at this now. The young Joseph Haney, where did he come from? He's only 16. He was on the bench. He must be a really improved player, because he stepped up from the under 18s and moved into the B team, and that's a rapid jump from the under 18s to the B team to being on the bench against Auchinleck Talbot. I know that he didn't get any game time, but that experience alone means that Martin O'Neill must see there must be something. We're going to have to do some digging about this Joseph Haney. English, 16-year-old. Interesting. In the midfield, Yang will start in the midfield. Luke McCowan won't start. He'll be on the bench. Arnie Engels, he will start. Paulo Bernardo will be on the bench. Callum McGregor, he'll start. Kyle Urey, he's in the under 21 team or whatever it's called in Europe. James Forrest, I think James Forrest will start tonight. And then other first team players that will start tonight. Benji Negrin, could he start? Iniacho, it's too early for him. Callum Osman, is too early for him. Tanetti, he's seemingly not fit enough, but I'm not too sure about that. Johnny Kenny will start. Dies Maida, he'll start. And then it is just some of the younger players that are in the squad. And when you look at the B team squad, it is a really young squad. Do you know, you look at the ages of some of these players that are in the, and people are asking, do you know, why is there no one stepping up from the B team? And look at the age of them. I don't know, 17, 17, 17, 18. 19. Joe Crawford, 18, 18, 18, 19. Sean McArdle, I mean, he should be in and around near about the first team. He's good enough. Kyle Urey, 20, he's the same. I don't know, but it is a very, very young squad that we do have. Anyway, that's the players for tonight. It is all about, can Celtic realistically get anything? That's still looking like that. We need to update that. I'll update in a few hours. Sutton was Blackburn's top goal scorer for 2 seasons before Chelsea and an EPL winner. And then he'd be shite. I'm going to have to get it because he's going to start arguing. There we go. Chris Sutton. His stats. Aye, aye, aye. Out of 39 games, a full season, he scored 3 goals. Chris Sutton at Chelsea. He scored 84 at Celtic. I'll get the stats on the screen because people asked in transfer market. Julia obliges. There we go. There's Chris Sutton's stats. Just do that. That's Chris Sutton's stats. When he was at Blackburn Rovers, he played 159 games. He scored 59 goals. He set up 18. When he was at Celtic, he scored 84 goals. When he was at Chelsea, he scored 3 goals. And Celtic bought him from Chelsea. So there we have it. Like I said, he was shite at Chelsea. So there's your confirmation that Chris Sutton was absolutely pish at Chelsea. 39 games and only 3 goals. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of that. We move on. Right, let's jump into some of the comments this morning. And super chat has come in from Stephen Johnston, and he says, hit the like button, everyone. Thumbs up. Thank you for that, Stephen, this morning. And let me just see. I believe it would be a draw. A draw would be a fantastic result for us tonight. I mean, we got a draw in Italy last year. Let's get comfy. We got a draw in Italy last year, and I think that would be a fantastic result for Celtic tonight. Are we good enough to get a draw? I think the fact that Lewis Ferguson is playing for Bologna, and Lewis Ferguson has never beaten Celtic. My coffee's cold again. Lewis Ferguson has his stats are terrible. It's something like 13 losses and 3 draws against Celtic. So hopefully that he will be the curse of Bologna tonight. Hopefully he'll be the man that everybody in Bologna's going, it's fucker Ferguson's fault. But anyway, when you sign up for the scouting website, Baz, mate, you've got to get out an invitation. You don't get up to that. You don't get onto the websites if you don't work for clubs. Guys at Celtic still go. Celtic is still going for the Crystal Palace player. Do you know, Baz, Chris Sutton stats are on transfer. Yeah, I got that. I'm just catching up with the comments. I'll jump to the end of the comments. Apologies. I don't look at the results. They've not been in the best form, conceding like that. Yes, but when it comes to Europe, you know, Europe doesn't lie. They could turn it on for Europe, but the results at home haven't been the best. And click on the table. I mean, where are they in the table? Bologna, they're in 13th place. They are in 13th place in the league in the Europa. So, look at the top of the table, league phase. Lyon, Michelin have slipped down into second place. Aston Villa are in third. You've got to remember, Aston Villa were riding high in the Champions League last season. They were top 8 in the Champions League. They were top 2 in the Champions League at one point. Real Betis, they're in fourth. And then you go all the way down to Bologna are in 13th. They climbed up a position in their last game. But even in Europe, they've only got the 3 wins and 2 draws. So you could say that, you know, a draw would be a fantastic result for Celtic this evening. I think the fans will sing the songs tonight. This will be the day that we win away. They were singing it last night. This is the day that we win away. We won't sing it mad way yet. This is the day. This is the day that we win away. Anyway, we move on. Celtic, where are they? We are just by the... We're down in 24th position, and it doesn't look great with 3 losses and 2 wins. If we'd only got a draw, we've got a draw earlier on. When you look at there is one game that we've got a draw, but can Celtic get another draw tonight? 10 points was the target before the campaign started. 10 points was the minimum that Celtic would need to finish in the top 24. And it's, let's face it, it's embarrassing that we're just, especially after the fantastic performance in the Champions League, the big league last year. When you look at another club that was in the Champions League last year, Aston Villa, you know, they did quite well in the Champions League last year. Celtic should have been pushing toe to toe, and this is how far we've regressed. There's no use going over what happened this season. We all know what's happened. But if we can get anything from the game tonight that just keeps us in that top 24, a sneaky draw, do you know what? Maybe even a 2-0 win, a 1-0 win, a scrappy 1-0 win away from home. Martin O'Neill's got previous in Italy with Celtic. Previous. Where he said these players were outstanding. My players tonight were outstanding. He was in rage against Juventus. Pure rage. He wants revenge. He wants revenge. Although he did say in the press conference last night that issue's not the issue this season, and my time here, we're not putting 110% into the Europa. If I'd been here since the beginning of the season, that'd have been a different thing. I'm not going to be here next season, so I'm not even thinking about it. But if we'd been here since the beginning of the season, you can guarantee that Martin O'Neill would have sat down with the board and said, I want to go back. I want to rectify 2003. I want to at least give it a good chance. But he was realistic last night. And we all seen, I'll put the picture up of Martin O'Neill in a minute. But the fact that Celtic, if we lose tonight, we'll drop out the top 24. And then it comes to the game against Utrecht. And Utrecht is a game that we should win. They're sitting on -6 goals. They're sitting in 32nd position. They have no chance of getting into the top 24. You would think. Unless they win. If they win, and then it comes down to the game at Celtic Park, and it's between us and Utrecht to get into the top 24, it shows you how bad that we've become this season. I mean, even Feyenoord, I mean, they're down in 30th. ultimately, I would want Celtic to get a point tonight. It gets us on that 8 point mark, and then get the win at home. And all it does is it gives us a playoff place. It's not, you know, it gives us a game against the teams that are outside the top 8 at the moment. So they're knockout places. You've got Stuttgart, Roma, Nottingham Forest. Maybe it's written in the stars for Martin O'Neill. Maybe Nottingham Forest won't finish in the top 8. And maybe it's written in the stars for Martin O'Neill to have his final game in Europe with the team that he did so much with in a European context. Nottingham Forest is a player where they won the big cup twice. And Celtic, where he took Celtic as manager to the European Cup final in 2003. And maybe it will be a battle of the O'Neills. Martin O'Neill thinking that he wants the best for Celtic, but we get Nottingham Forest. That would be unbelievable if we did get Nottingham Forest. I think we'd need to jump up a few places in the league, but never say never. Maybe it's written in the stars, and Martin O'Neill would have a little smile on his face to let's just get tonight's game over and done with first. You could just see it. God, Martin O'Neill would internally be internally in turmoil. Dunfermline, Rosalie says going to be 0-0 tonight. Who's got Bologna on Sunday? That could determine how strong a side they put out. No idea. I'm not even thinking about Sunday for us, because Sunday for us is a top of the table clash. It is a top of the table clash, and we'll think about that after this game. But anyway, right, that is your Celtic news this morning. It is all about the game tonight. It is all about Celtic just giving themselves a little bit of hope for this game. Anything is possible under Martin O'Neill. We'll jump into the comments now for the last remaining part of the video. I've been saying sack off Europe this season, but we need the coefficiency points desperately for the next few seasons. We're at risk of no Champions League for Scottish football. This is true. Table isn't a good watch. No, it's not, but we need to it. Feyenoord aside, so luck in Europe gives me the fear. Bologna have. There we go. Well, that is the flag of my brother's supporters club, who it took them 10 hours, 11 hours to get to Bologna. They left in the morning. Their first flight was delayed. They had to get a flight to another airport and then other trains. It took them 10 hours. 10 hours to get to Bologna. Anyway, but as a win would be fantastic, but I would be happy with the draw. I'd be happy with the draw as well. And you'd have to spend some money, Baz. Martin wants to rectify, the board wants to wreck. This is very true. It is very, very true. And when you seen Martin O'Neill's face last night, there is the gaffer. When you seen Martin O'Neill's face last night, kind of said it all, didn't it? It did say it all. It said that, this is reality. As much as I can come in and get things done, you never know. We get it over the line against Hearts. We get any type of decent result. Safe line on my house. Oh man, where is that comment? I've just seen it on another screen. I'm going to jump through the comments. Apologise. Yes, that is the top. The Harold Bratback top. The Henrik Larsson top. The shirt that we're wearing, Baz, is the same I have autographed by the team that stopped 10 in a row. It's safely hanging in the house. Kind of gives away the year now, doesn't it? But yeah, it is that top. Anyway, Face of Thunder. Yeah. To all the lads at the Hamilton CSC. Good lads on the Hamilton bus. Enjoy your trip, lads. See you at the next one. It's Big Kev away. Big Kev will be there. Is Ramy back from down under yet? Don't know. Our board reminds me of how the English FA never give Cloughie the England job. Who cares about that? I think Cloughie would say it. Anyway, the top's usually 10 sizes too big. Is it? Anyway, that's me done and dusted for this morning. I will be back unless Celtic make some kind of moves in the background today that we get any hint of a player coming in tomorrow other than the player that is coming in today. I wonder if Celtic will make an announcement maybe before the game today that we have signed a player. Surely we'll get that over the line. And Martin O'Neill did talk about it last night, so Celtic should announce it at some point today. Yep, that's oh man. Oh. I'll see them on my Facebook tonight. I'll see them on my Facebook. I'll go into Facebook and I'll see but anyway. Cheers, Scott, for that. Trying to get the Bumblebee top now for holiday. I don't know. It's on the Celtic site, mate. Celtic are selling the Bumblebee top again. But it's not the original, obviously. Mine was an original from the time. So is this one. But I take it back off before I aspire onto it. Anyway, I will be back an hour and a half before the game unless Celtic can make an announcement earlier than that. Have a fantastic day, Celtic fans, wherever you are. Let's before we go, we need to get that back up. I'll cover up Martin O'Neill's grumpy looking face in the morning. Big shout to everyone who is at the game today. Have a fantastic game, lads. Let's do this one.